a world that's more dangerous and divided. A time where the rules-based international, the global order, rules-based global order is under threat. And
are still waiting for any information on their missing children. Those missing girls haven't made any contact since early this morning.
Happy 4th of July! Happy 4th of July!
You know you're going to lose your health insurance, right?
As long as you lose yours, I'm happy. God bless America!
Ginger, thank you. Breaking news, one person is dead after illegal fireworks set 4 homes on fire in Pacoima.
Another person was critically injured along with some pets. KTLA5's Carlos Herrera live from the scene with the latest details. Carlos, good morning.
Good morning, Chris and Megan. We've now learned the person who died here is a man in his 30s. His body recovered from the property here just across the street that you're looking at right now. The back of the property appeared to be the origin of this fire, this massive blaze from last night. This is here one of the 4 property lots, according to the LA City Fire Department, that was impacted by this massive blaze. 2 of them had ADUs, making it a total of 6 living areas that were involved. Now, this morning, fire crews still here. They're dealing with this scene with the smoldering material left behind. It's considered dangerous at this point, and they're making sure that it does not reignite. Rain camera footage showing neighbors rushing to protect their homes as devastating fireworks explosions heard and seen in the background. The explosion also filmed by drivers on the 210 freeway, leaving them in disbelief. The LA Fire Department says it happened just after 9 p.m. in the 12,900 block of Corcoran Street. This is a neighborhood near the 118 and the 210 interchange.
To me, it was a tragedy when the fireworks were going off. I know one spark came all the way down into our front door neighbor's yard and almost lit their grass on fire, which is all the way over here on our block. And that was it was a blessing that nothing happened.
Officials say 3 one-story homes were showing fire when crews got here. The active fireworks inside a detached garage or an ADU, they say, exposed more homes and brush in the area. The incident was also declared a major emergency with more than 130 firefighters responding to the area. They knocked down the massive blaze just an hour later.
I will not be celebrating Independence Day this year. In the military, we are told that you should always follow your superiors. You should always do what you're told unless it is something that is illegal, immoral, or unethical. And with everything going on right now, all of this absolute insanity is definitely, obviously, illegal, immoral, and unethical. Especially if you have a conscience or are capable of and understand the concept of shame. We do not have to allow this, period. I don't care if it's passed the Senate. I don't care if it was approved by Congress. I don't care who it was signed by. This does not have to be the way that things are going to be. If our lawmakers and legislators actually represent us, then they know full well that this is not something that we want. This is not something that anybody wants or needs. It is, in fact, the exact opposite of those things.
This is not something that anybody wants or needs. It is, in fact, the exact opposite of those things.
Save Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security without cuts. Have to do it.
We're going to
love and cherish Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. We're not going to do anything with that.
Can you guarantee that Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security will not be touched?
Yeah, I mean, I have said it so many times, you shouldn't be asking me that question.
What happens if it comes to your desk, has the tax cuts, but also cuts to Medicaid? Would you veto that?
Well, we're not doing that.
Would you veto that?
I would if they were cutting it, but they're not cutting it. We're not cutting Medicaid. We're not cutting Medicare.
When Donald Trump says this bill won't cut Medicaid, he's lying.
This is the most deeply immoral piece of legislation that I've ever voted on.
It's only a beautiful bill if you're a billionaire or a very wealthy person. When he says this bill will grow the economy, he's lying.
These Republicans are scared of a tweet from Donald Trump.
It's a horrible piece of legislation. People are fearful.
When he says this is the best thing Congress could pass for our country, he's lying.
News 4 is continuing to follow the impacts of federal government funding cuts to medical research. One doctor says that she's scrambling to figure out how she's going to continue her work helping sickle cell disease patients after the NIH yanked her $750,000 research grant, citing DEI and divisiveness as a factor.
Now, sickle cell disease affects about 100,000 people in the U.S. 90% of patients are Black, according to NIH. News 4's Amy Cho breaks it all down for us.
It's a blood disorder that causes excruciating pain. Sickle cell disease means the red blood cells are shaped like sickles and can't flow properly. That causes lifelong issues such as strokes, lung problems, and infections.
So basically, someone who's 50 years old was functioning like someone who's 80 years old. So that was what we found in our original pilot. So I really felt like we have to do something.
Dr. Charity Oyedeji is a hematologist at Duke University. For the past 8 years, she's been working on a project called Sickle Fit, which helps patients do physical therapy to deal with the chronic pain and health issues.
People that couldn't do something as simple as get out of a chair without assistance are able to do that now.
But 2 weeks ago, the NIH told her it's taking away her funding, citing a low return on investment. It also said studies involving DEI support unlawful discrimination on the basis of race, which harms the health of Americans.
I was very sick to my stomach when I first saw it. I just could not believe it. Even small disruptions in research can have really major negative impacts.
One patient tells News 4 the sickle cell research at NIH saved his life. Lindrick Holmes from Austin, Texas, took part in a gene therapy study that changed his blood cells back to normal.
It's a debilitating disease. My ability to actually do what everyone has been saying Americans should do, pull themselves up out of their own bootstraps. I wouldn't be able to do that if without the research that was done.
Holmes is still taking part in a 15-year study on the long-term effects of the treatment to make sure it's safe for others in the future. And while his study is still being funded, Holmes says he was saddened to hear about the funding for Sickle Fit being slashed.
It feels like they're using DEI as euphemism for another word, for another derogatory word towards people that they don't like.
As for Dr. Oyedeji, she's planning to appeal the NIH decision to cut her funds.
Evidence clearly shows that this type of research prolongs life, improves function. These grants were originally awarded because of their merit.
She also plans to search for other sources of funding and says she's hopeful her work can continue. Amy Cho, News 4.
Before we go to her, I just want to show you some amazing pictures we've had, which look like something from a sci-fi film, but this is real.
This is Portugal. Lots of people on the beach, totally caught off guard by this giant roller cloud, which you can see coming into the coast.
Yeah, it's a rare tube-shaped formation rolling across the sky like some sort of slow-motion wave, leaving sunbathers reaching for their phones to capture these pictures. It's said to be a rare phenomenon spotted along several coastal towns in the north and centre of Portugal. You would be terrified if you saw that.
I would be really scared. Yeah. It's like one of those Netflix dramas where like the boat comes at you. It's a cloud coming at you.
Meanwhile, this ominous cloud appeared along the coast of Portugal. Hot and cooler air mixing offshore.
While some are able to enjoy such high temperatures, others say they are working in sweltering conditions. Some London bus drivers describe it as intolerable, with temperatures up to 40 degrees. Transport for London says they have a hot weather plan in place to protect staff who should raise any concerns. Anna O'Neill has been talking with drivers, many of whom don't want to be identified.
The Greek island of Crete, strong winds have hampered firefighting efforts as a major wildfire sweeps across the east of the island. The blaze has spread rapidly across forest and mountainous terrain due to gale force winds and high temperatures, Sean Dilley reports.
Petra, late last night. Below the smoke, devastation. The illumination of the ground speaks to the intense heat at the heart of the fire. Around 5,000 tourists were evacuated from hotels, and around 200 of those found refuge in a sports hall.
The smoke was getting closer to our hotel, and then they evacuated the hotel and they brought us here.
They just told us to leave the hotel with small baggage. We leave the big bags in the hotel, and we are waiting now.
Fires are still active in 3 areas, Achlia, Ferma and Skirokapsula, all in the southeast of Crete. More than 230 firefighters and 46 fire engines have been sent to control the flames, but windy conditions and intense heat are causing new flare-ups.
At least 50,000 people affected so far, and across Europe, the sense that this may be the new normal for summer.
A world that's more dangerous and divided. A time where the rules-based international, the global order, rules-based global order, is under threat, in a time when technological change is accelerating. And we really have 2 choices as a jurisdiction, as a country in this circumstance. We can nostalgically look back and long for the old order to somehow return, or we can build a new one with purpose and partnership. And as the most European of the non-European countries, Canada looks first to the European Union. And so today, this is a new era of cooperation. Our strategic Canada-EU or EU-Canada strategic partnership for the future will build a new and deeper relationship that brings us closer together. But now we're working alongside the European Union to combat climate change, to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals, and to protect, amongst other things, academic and scientific freedoms.
Here's what we know so far. At approximately 1:27 a.m., officers were investigating a disturbance at Washington and Meridian Street. They were notified of another disturbance down the street at Illinois and Washington Street. As officers were approaching that second disturbance, they heard shots fired, and as they arrived on the scene, they encountered several people suffering from apparent gunshot wounds. Officers and IEMS medics who were embedded with our officers immediately began rendering aid to the victims that they were encountering. They also called for several additional ambulances. In total, we had 5 victims transported away from the scene to area hospitals for treatment. A 6th victim was pronounced dead on the scene. A 7th victim walked into an area hospital and is in stable condition. 3 of those victims are juveniles and 3 are adults. We did not know the identity or the age of the victim that was pronounced dead at the scene. The victim who died at the hospital was a juvenile. We have also recovered several firearms at the scene. We do not yet know whether those firearms were involved in this incident. Our detectives will work to determine that. And we have multiple people, about 7 people detained for further investigation. We also don't know their involvement at this point in time. The investigation is early. I think that's the very brief fact.
Good morning, everyone. 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock on your Saturday morning. We start with tragic breaking news out of downtown Indy. IMPD telling us that 7 people were shot and 2 have died in a shooting just a few hours ago. Police Chief Chris Bailey went straight to the scene near Washington and Illinois, and the chief did not mince words in a press conference just before 4 this morning. Take a listen.
I don't know how many times I have to say it. We are not your children's keepers. You are. And parents and guardians have got to step up. A kid is dead tonight. And we just don't know the age of the young man down the street. still here, dead. He looks young.
That was Chief Chris Bailey just heard from. Now, we have had multiple crews downtown since about 2 o'clock this morning. Our Anna Chakra is live downtown near where that shooting happened. She was at the Chief Bailey's emotional address to the press. And Anna, what do we know so far this morning?
Matthew, we know one of those victims that died this morning is a juvenile, and I will say all 7, there were 3 juveniles, 3 adults involved with this. We're still figuring out the second identity of the person who died, and this is still an active scene here behind me, nearly 5 hours after the shooting happened. So let me step out of the way so I can show you what is going on behind us. They have taken a large section of Illinois street that is blocked off for this investigation. The majority of this happening between Illinois and Washington, but as you can see, cops, investigators still out here this morning trying to pick up evidence, figure out what led up to this mass shooting. So I do want
An object from outer space has hurtled into our solar system and is only the 3rd such object we've been able to detect, known as 3I Atlas, the comet, which was first reported on Tuesday by a telescope in Chile. And these are pictures from telescopes from the European Space Agency tracking the object's movements. Good news, the comet poses no threat to Earth. I spoke with Avi Loeb, an astrophysicist and professor of science at Harvard University, as well as the author of the best-selling Extraterrestrial, the first sign of intelligent life beyond Earth.
Now, we had asteroid watch for the Earth. Still a bit worried. Well, we're worried for the moon now. But
worried for the moon, that's
worried
right.
for the moon. There's a comet heading for the sun. But we're not worried?
We're not worried. We're actually excited because this appears to be a comet not from our own solar system. So when we think about everything that we pretty much talk about in terms of asteroid watch and the comets, those are all in our own solar system. There's very few things, in fact, it's only the 3rd that we've discovered that have come from another solar system. Because you actually need enough energy to escape the pool of your star.
Right.
Think of like a roller coaster.
So there's a point at which you, because I'm thinking, what's the boundary? And the boundary would be at the point that one pool ends and another starts.
Oh, pretty much.
You've got to have enough energy to get out, otherwise it sort of peters out and loops back.
Exactly, that's right.
It's like everything's on a loop.
Exactly, so, and that's kind of always heading towards the sun.
Right.
So if for some reason you have enough energy, you can get over that hump and then keep going. And so we think these are comets that were actually thrown out of another star system. So
a really serious explosion.
Or something, some sort of energy source.
We think these are comets that were actually thrown out of another star system. So a really serious explosion. Or something, some sort of energy source.
It's a UFO for real. It's a UFO, bitch. No, we not making this shit up. Look at it. It's a UFO for real, y'all. That is crazy. Y'all, that's crazy. It's a UFO for real, y'all. I promise y'all. Look, we got all these. There ain't no damn street light. I know we're talking about that street light. That ain't no street light, bro. That's a UFO. This a fucking street light right here. This the fucking street light. That ain't no fucking street light. That's no street light to me. That's the light beaming down on.
Could explain a lot of things going on these days. Scientists, by the way, did try to intercept radio signals from this mystery object, but didn't hear anything.
I was going to say we should run, but where are we going?
Nowhere.
We're kind of stuck here.
This isn't just anyone saying this. Astronomers at Harvard University are suggesting a mysterious object that floated through our solar system last year may have been an alien probe. Hear me out. The object, called the Oumuamua, which in Hawaiian means a messenger that reaches out from the distant past.
A space object that has eluded scientists since it passed through Earth in 2017 is now back in the limelight for its disputed origins. Called Oumuamua, the object has been pitched as many things.
A new government report is raising eyebrows across the country, especially among anyone interested in extraterrestrials. Our Alexandra Lemon has the story.
Physicist and Harvard professor Avi Loeb says there's a possibility humans aren't the only civilization in the universe.
Whether we live in such a reality or not is not a philosophical question. We just have to look out.
Loeb teamed up with the Pentagon office that investigates unidentified aerial phenomenon, and they released this draft report that indicates it is possible that alien ships have already visited our solar system. Specifically, Loeb thinks the first interstellar object spotted passing through our solar system in 2017 that was given the name Oumuamua could be an extraterrestrial mothership. Loeb says Oumuamua didn't have the characteristics you'd find in meteors or other known objects.
We consider a possibility where an object as big as Oumuamua, which was a football field size, is a mothership.
He says the mothership could have released smaller ships or probes to study our solar system after spending a long time to get here.
With chemical rockets, it takes less than 1 billion years to traverse the entire Milky Way galaxy.
Loeb says if Oumuamua was a ship, there likely wasn't life on it.
Here is NASA's manager for its Center for Near-Earth Object Studies. Take a listen.
This object is simply a piece of another solar system that was expelled, and it has been traveling through interstellar space for hundreds of millions of years, billions of years, we don't know.
Multiple flash flood evacuations this 4th of July, and this is why widespread rainfall fueling a deadly surge of floods across the Texas Hill Country tonight. This video comes from the Guadalupe River in Kerr County. This is KPRC 2 News at 6. I'm Keith Garvin. Daniela Guzman is off tonight. This evening, all of Texas is answering the call after the Kerr County Sheriff says at least 13 people, including children, are dead, and many others are missing after the flooding. Locals are still being told to shelter in place.
Hey friends, this is Christina from Caps Crossing. It is Friday, July 4th, and I know that some of our neighbors in Kerrville are experiencing some severe flooding, but here at the Guadalupe below the Canyon Lake Dam, we are not. We have some great flooding.
And I know that some of our neighbors in Kerrville are experiencing some severe flooding, but here at the Guadalupe below the Canyon Lake Dam, we are not. We have some great flooding.
Okay, my house is flooding. Anybody out there? I have my dad on hospice and I need to get him out of here. He's bedridden, he can't walk, he can hardly move, and look where the water is. So somebody please, we've called 911. It's bad over here. In front of the house, it's like a river. I mean, it's like a lake. They can't come look. We've lost our cars, everything. We've lived here for 30 years and this has never happened. So anybody, please, if you have a boat or something, I need help. I need to get my dad out of here. It's starting to smell like sewer in here.
Authorities say 237 people have been rescued so far, about 167 of those by helicopter. Names of those deceased have not been provided at this point in time. We know about several children's camps directly hit, and unfortunately a nightmare scenario. Some children still missing, but officials did not provide specific details about how many children are missing or if any are among those killed. During the press conference, state and local officials were making a case that this was somewhat unpredictable, that none of their weather forecasts called for the amount of rain and flooding that we're seeing. The Guadalupe River rising about 26 feet in less than an hour, according to Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick. State emergency operations had briefings on Thursday, so before any of this happened, about potential severe weather in the area. They say the National Weather Service only called for about 3 to 6 inches of rain, but that was enough where state officials say they had some emergency response teams on standby, and they were immediately activated once the flooding took place, specifically swift water rescue teams. They arrived at noon yesterday. We're just learning about that now during the press conference. And to explain how quickly the flooding happened, officials say one of the first responder vehicles was washed away as the flooding hit. State officials saying even first responders were caught off guard.
We'll stop at nothing to ensure that every asset and person and plane and whatever is needed is going to be involved in the process of rescuing every last person and ensure everybody involved in this is going to be fully accounted for.
But I'd also ask, please pray for our community. This is a hard day, and there will be hard days to come. Pray for us. We covet your prayers. Thank you.
Pray for us. We covet your prayers. Thank you.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah.
The original forecast that we received on Wednesday from the National Weather Service predicted 3 to 6 inches of rain in the Concho Valley and 4 to 8 inches of rain in the Hill Country. We worked with our own meteorologists to fine-tune that weather statement, and as many of you know, and many of you in broadcast journalism and meteorology, you can go back and look at your own forecast, and the amount of rain that fell in this specific location was never in any of those forecasts.
This rain event sat on top of that and dumped more rain than what was forecasted on both of those forks. When we got the report, it was about 7 feet or so on the South Fork, and within a matter of minutes it was up to 29 feet, and all of that converged at the Guadalupe, and that's where we saw those very quick rise in flood.
But listen, everybody got the forecast from the National Weather Service, right? You all got it. You're all in media. You got that forecast. It did not predict the amount of rain that we saw.
There are families all over the state, including several here in North Texas, hoping to hear good news about their missing loved ones.
And Fox 4's Peyton Yeager is in studio tonight with more. Peyton.
Hi, Heather. We know families of the Camp Mystic girls who are they're stationed at a nearby elementary school in Ingram, where the rescued girls will be dropped off. I've been in touch with some parents who are still waiting for any information on their missing children. Those missing girls haven't made any contact since early this morning.
Hours of agony for panicked parents of children at the all-girls summer camp, Camp Mystic in Hunt, Texas, after catastrophic flooding along the Guadalupe River. Around 7 Friday evening, Texas game wardens announced they made entry into Camp Mystic with vehicles and were bringing campers out. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick announced just hours earlier the summer camp housed more than 750 girls, but around 24 campers were still unaccounted for. Among the missing, girls from North Texas. This includes Eloise Peck on the left and Lila Bonner on the right. Both are from Dallas. Also from Dallas, 8-year-old Hadley Hannah. Her father is on the ground in Kerr County. Also, Fort Worth Mayor Maddie Parker posted to X, "We have Fort Worth families impacted specifically by missing girls at Camp Mystic." As search and rescue efforts continued on Friday, desperate family members rushed to the flood zone. A Burleson family made the trip to Kerr County, hoping to find Joni and Robert Brake, the couple staying at an RV park off the river where cabins were washed away. But they haven't made contact with family since the early morning hours.
Debris is floating in the river, so you never know what's floating. If it's a tree, we've seen RVs, we've seen refrigerators.
Elizabeth Copeland is from Prosper. Her family traveled to a Kerrville RV park to celebrate the 4th. It now looks like this. The Copelands are safe, holding their boys tighter tonight.
Trying to keep your kids calm in a very chaotic situation.
And back to the missing campers, I've been hearing from families from Houston, San Antonio, and also Beaumont who haven't heard from their children either. It's a very fluid situation.
The cooperative world order we imagined 25 years ago has not turned into reality. Instead, we have entered a new era of harsh geostrategic competition. The world's major economies are vying for access to raw materials, new technologies, and global trade routes. From AI to clean tech, from quantum to space, from the Arctic to the South China Sea, the race is on. As this competition intensifies, we will likely continue to see frequent use of economic tools, such as sanctions, export controls, and tariffs, that are intended to safeguard economic and national security. But it is important that we balance the imperative to safeguard our security against our opportunity to innovate and enhance our prosperity. In this spirit, we will need to work together to avoid a global race to the bottom, because it is in no one's interest to break the bonds of the global economy. Rather, we need to modernize the rules to sustain our ability to produce mutual gain for our citizens.
Thank you. First and foremost, I want to give thanks to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for giving us my life and health and strength, allowing me to be here and allowing us to live in this blessed and prosperous land. I am Mark Robinson. I am the first black lieutenant governor of North Carolina. And come November, I plan on being the first black governor of North Carolina. But I am not one of the political elite. I grew up poor as the ninth of 10 kids in Greensboro with an alcoholic father who beat my mother. I love to tell you that I graduated from high school, found success, never worried about money again, but I can't.
Yeah, I really don't understand this, because the billionaires understand that we are in a class war, and they have class solidarity. That's why even when the billionaires argue with each other, they never argue about what the system we should have is, because they all benefit from the system we have. They're all billionaires. And they understand that their job is to keep themselves at the top 1% while everything else gets worse for the bottom percent. And they all work collectively together. But us in the working class, there's a very large percentage of us, for some reason, who have bought the propaganda that if they just work a little harder, they could be a billionaire. And it makes no sense. Like, I literally see people who are like, well, you should have got into a trade. like anybody in a trade ever became a billionaire. Like the idea that anybody who's working class could ever become a billionaire is just insane. And the idea that the billionaires are on your side when you're working class, when everything they do is exploit the working class and try to steal their labor and try to pay less and less of the working class. Like the idea that the working class can't figure out that we are all on the same side against the top 1% who understand they're on the same side is the most brain-hurting thing that like bothers me every single day. Every single day.
You see, from ancient times, people have nurtured nostalgic visions of peace and abundance. We call them utopian ideologues. They prophesy the coming of a golden age where people would live in harmony and they'd be one with nature, and there would be freedom from toil and stress and danger. Utopia, paradise on earth. In fact, it's interesting because you find Plato suggested the same thing to the Greeks. Virgil talked to the Romans about it. The Anabaptists and Shakers, sort of pseudo-Christian movements, but yet they also talked about coming into a millennial peaceful era based upon Augustan theology. Or there was Voltaire and Rousseau, who influenced the Enlightenment, which led to the French Revolution, which turned out to be one of the bloodiest in human history. Or you've got Marx and Lenin with Marxism. All of them envisioned this perfect, harmonious universe, and yet, when it became applied, every one of them failed miserably and paid a high toll in treasure and life that was lost. And today we're not without our own various iterations of it. I mean, as we talked about the jihadists who believe that the Mahdi will come and he'll come and destroy everything before he can restore everything to a perfect Islamic universe. Even though Islamists, wherever they dominate, end up to kill each other and other people as well. That just doesn't seem to stop. You know, it's kind of like Jesus said, you live by the sword, you're going to die by the sword. We have the techno, eco, post-humanist climate visionaries. Even people like, whether it's Elon Musk or Hariri or Al Gore or Greta Thunberg, all have this idea that we'll come and be able to bring the world together if we just stop burning fossil fuels and passing gas, and the world will be a better place. I do sign on with the passing gas part, by the way. But all of these things will fail because you can't fix something that's as warped and broken as this universe is.
Because you can't fix something that's as warped and broken as this universe is.
Welcome back to our breaking news coverage of an active shooter situation unfolding just outside of Coeur d'Alene. It's in the Canfield Mountain area east of Coeur d'Alene. It all began at around 1:20 this afternoon when firefighters received reports of a fire. They responded to the brush fire. When they arrived, they started taking gunfire. We know that 2 have been shot and killed. There could be more victims. Right now, law enforcement is still trying to determine how many shooters there are. That person has yet to be caught. They have yet to be neutralized, so it's a very active, evolving situation right now.
Yeah, this is happening right now near Canfield Mountain. This is east of Coeur d'Alene right now, a very popular area, especially on a weekend right now. There, again, as Mark said, there is a shelter in place, and they're still actively working to get people off the mountain, including hikers and people just recreating there on Canfield Mountain as they work to take down the suspect or suspects. Right now, the sheriff's saying that he doesn't know if there are more than one shooter. They are shooters. He says there could be 1, 2, 3, or 4 because they are taking gunfire from multiple directions.
It saddens me to announce that Battalion Chief Frank Harwood, 42 years old, has been a member of our department for 17 years, passed away in the line of duty yesterday. Chief Harwood is married, has 2 children. He is also a former Army National Guard combat engineer, so he's a veteran as well. Chief Harwood was a leader in our organization. He did an amazing job. He was a shift commander. He was well respected by his shift. This loss is felt by so many, including all of the members of his shift that worked and saw the incident yesterday. So we're going to ask, and President Zabel is going to speak a little more directly about Chief Harwood, but we would ask that you would keep him in your thoughts and your prayers as we continue this important mission that we serve every day. That said, shortly after today's press conference, working with the International Association of Firefighters, we will have pictures of the fallen available in one graphic. It is important to note that we are operating as one incident. Although two departments, we are working hand in hand through this, and I could not appreciate that more. And with
how amazing is it that we humans have a word for something that literally flies between stars? And so far, we've only known about 2 interstellar visitors in our recorded history. That is, until now, because astronomers have just detected another something out there blazing into our solar system at like 152,000 miles an hour. And unlike Earth and the rest of the planets that are locked into orbit, this thing is not going to be here for very long. Now, you might remember the other 2 interstellar objects that we've talked about a lot here. The first one was Oumuamua back in 2017. It was known for that weird long shape, the weird movements, and all of the theories behind its origins. Then came 21 Borisov. It looked a little bit more like a traditional comet. Now entering the solar system, chat, is 31 Atlas. This is it. Right here, just popped up on astronomers' radar a few days ago thanks to the Atlas Planetary Defense System. It is still a blurry dot in the sky, but the early data is suggesting that this thing could be miles wide. The good news for Earth, 31 Atlas is not coming anywhere near us. This is the trajectory right here. It's kind of close to Mars, but not really, but it's still pretty far away from Earth. Researchers say it'll swing by the sun at about twice our distance. That's going to happen right around Halloween. Our next guest helped calculate its trajectory. So let's hope he is right. Dr. Peter Varesh is an astronomer at Harvard's Minor Planet Center. Doctor, thanks so much for being with us. Let's start with a track here. Like, how good of a look are we going to get at this thing come late October?
Good evening from the Minor Planet Center. So indeed, we are very lucky that we discovered this object because it is such a rare event, only 3rd ever in our history to be detected. And we are also lucky because the object was detected pretty far from Earth, and we will have almost 1 year to observe this object. It is also quite massive and pretty bright, so right now even amateur astronomers can observe it and actually submit data to us, to the Minor Planet Center.
It seems extremely bright. Are these super rare, or are we just getting better at seeing them out there in the dark?
I would say they regularly go through the solar system, but until now we didn't have the detection capabilities to see them. So thanks to the program like NASA's Planetary Defense and the activities funded by NASA, they are searching for near-Earth asteroids. These objects are being finally found.
Inside of that big, beautiful bill is a provision for artificial intelligence corporations that says no
10 years.
For 10 years, no state or locality can regulate them. And then it talks about zoning and routing, which if some of your listeners may have seen this, like locally, some big corporation wants to put a data center in your backyard. Well, that's what the Congress is trying to do. They're trying to say that these corporations can override local zoning laws, that the local zoning board should take a back seat and let this big information center show up in your backyard that uses all kinds of water and all kinds of power and puts out all kinds of RF and has,
oh yeah, your fucking cousin's gonna be walking down the street just fucking, just fucking screaming out Amazon orders, It's gonna be, what is happening, man?
So that's in the big, beautiful bill, okay? And you can know that's evil, you can know that's bad, and Trump never campaigned on that. But also in that bill is to enforce our borders, okay, to finish the wall.
Right.
So if you're a Republican and you vote for that bill, okay, you supported enforcing the border, but you also let AI basically take over your local and state governments, okay? And then if you vote against it, well, then you're against the AI provision, but oh my gosh, you're for open borders, you know? You don't want to support the military. There was $100 billion in there for the military. Yeah. There was oh, you want to tax seniors. There was a tax cut for seniors. So you can't win for losing. And so I don't blame a lot of my colleagues. Like they come to Congress, they have the best intentions, and you get there and you're like, oh my gosh, this whole game is rigged. How am I going to play it? Am I going to call it out? Will that be the best for my constituents who elected me? Or should I play along? And most of them choose to play along.
These people hate you. They despise you. When you step up and you say, hey, what the you doing? They get pissed you're even asking a question. And the only thing that can solve any of this is all of us unifying against tyranny. Not against Republicans, not against Democrats, against tyranny. Like this left-right, Democrat, Republican, gay, straight, this, that, black, white. They want us to argue with each other while they fucking steal everything that we work our fucking asses off for. Explain to me how that's free.
They want us to argue with each other while they fucking steal everything that we work our fucking asses off for. Explain to me how that's free.
The President of the United States suggested slavery. The leader of the cult that lives and dies under the phrase, "Make America Great Again," suggested slavery. Except in his words, he calls it owner responsibility or farmer responsibility. He's at the concentration camp in the Everglades. I can't make this shit up. And he says that they're going to go to farms, arrest the migrants, and instead of deporting them, literally to fucking anywhere, the Supreme Court said that he could just send them anywhere. Instead of deporting them, he said they can stay there and work, because how can the farm survive if they don't stay there and work the farm? But he made sure to mention they're not going to get citizenship. And then the owner of the farm will have responsibility over them. Human beings that can't get citizenship and got arrested by ICE, who wears the same type of ski mask that we see people who march in these fucking Proud Boy, white supremacist parades. The same type of ski masks are worn on these ICE agents that don't have to identify themselves, and they're going to round up migrants to work on a farm for an owner to be responsible for them, and they can't leave or get citizenship. That's fucking slavery. Congratulations. Is this what you voted for? They know they can't call it slavery, so they call it owner responsibility. Slave owner who's responsible for the slaves they own. Owner responsibility of the people who have to work in America to not get citizenship. What are we doing? There's gonna be a civil war because that's exactly what the fuck did. That's exactly what happened last time. The President of the United States, the Make America Great Again guy, just suggested slavery under the guise of owner responsibility. That's what they've always meant by Make America Great Again. Y'all are shocked by how many people support this and say, yeah, I voted for this, without accepting that they are the racist motherfuckers that want this shit. They would happily own slaves. How many racist Proud Boy motherfuckers do you think ran to sign up for fucking ICE, knowing they could wear a goddamn mask, not have to present any type of paperwork, no warrant, no identification? The people they round up won't get any due process, no fucking trials, nothing. Modern day Gestapo. Hell yeah, identify them fucking ICE agents so their names can be fucking known. It's disgusting. It's disgusting.
We're going to do something that we're going to sort of put the farmers in charge. And if a farmer's been with one of these people that work so hard, they bend over all day. We don't have too many people can do that, but they work very hard and they know them very well. And some of the farmers are literally, they cry when they see this happen. If a farmer's willing to vouch for these people,
If a farmer's willing to vouch for these people,
be good with it. Because we don't want to do it where we take all of the workers off the farms. We want the farms to do great like they're doing right now.
One of the most dangerous things that will ever affect the life of a human being in this life is the dark power of this strong word called deception. It is when the human mind is misled to believe something that is not true or something that is not accurate. Deception can enter our life through false teachings or false words. Deception can enter our lives through wrong people and wrong associations. Deception can enter our lives through rebellion and sin. Deception can enter our lives through wrong exposures. Deception can enter our lives through things we're listening to or exposed to that is not true.
NASA says this object will only be here for a limited time. Again, it's traveling at 40,000 miles per hour. In case you were wondering, the name Oumuamua is Hawaiian. It means a messenger from afar arriving first.
We detect some fast-moving thing in the solar system with hyperbolic speeds headed towards Earth, and then it rapidly begins to slow down. Oumuamua is the first visitor from interstellar space that we have ever confirmed moved through our solar system. So, because its orbit, its trajectory around the sun was not, quote, following Newton's laws, that meant something was affecting its trajectory. And some hypothesize maybe it's an intelligent craft. If there's not actual aliens on it, maybe there are active navigational tools on it.
This is the very first object that was discovered in the solar system that originated from outer space.
Scientists say tumbling through our solar system right now is this strange cigar-shaped object called Oumuamua,
which in Hawaiian means a visitor from far away coming here for the first time.
Harvard University professor Avi Loeb says the object was discovered last year. He says it's not a comet or an asteroid, and while there's no scientific proof, it could be something from another life form.
Could be a space debris from an advanced technological equipment that is either defunct or operational. We don't know. Maybe it's a reconnaissance mission coming to the inner part of the solar system to look around.
Like an alien ship?
Our suggestion is that it may be a light sail. A light sail is a sail pushed by light, just like a sailboat is being pushed by the wind.
Begs the question, do you think we are alone?
No, I don't think we're alone. I think there's a good chance that there's something out there for sure.
I think we're alone. You just never know.
Professor Loeb says the object is now moving out of our solar system and will take thousands of years to do so. However, he also says it's too late for scientists to find that object again in space with the technology we have today.
With conventional rockets, we cannot catch up with it. However, if we develop better technology for propulsion, we could potentially in the future chase it down and reach it.
So despite proclamations by the UN or promises by the EU or programs put forth by the World Economic Forum, none of those things will ever lead to the results that they promise. Because what is needed is not a renovation of the old order, but the dissolution of the present order, that this present sin-warped operating system will be replaced with a new one. In fact, Isaiah spoke of it twice in Isaiah 65 and again in 66, where he said, "For behold, I create a new heaven and a new earth, and the former things shall not be remembered or come into mind." That there'll be no looking back and saying, the old was better than this. But rather, it's not so much that it's forgotten as it's just chosen not to not be remembered. But in order for that to happen, the old has to be discarded, which is exactly what Peter said was going to happen. He said in 2 Peter 3:10, "The day of the Lord will come in which the heavens will pass away with a great noise, the elements will melt with a fervent heat, both the earth and the works that are in it will be burned up, and heaven will be dissolved, being on fire, and the elements will melt with fervent heat." So that it might be replaced by something that's completely new, something never seen before, never even imagined within the greatest imagination of man. A new heaven and a new earth in which righteousness dwells. It's interesting. Kainos, the word that we translate new in the New Testament, means new in form, quality, and nature.
Your kids will never be able to go to college, but at least the billionaires get tax cuts.
Let's go!
Billionaires! Billionaires! Excuse me, sir. Can I interest you in some critical thinking?
Oh, no, I don't need that. It won't go to any use. The Bible says, sell your possessions and give to the poor. Well, I rebuke that broke boy energy in Jesus' name. The only broke thing in this church is the devil's back. Yeah, God hates the poor. Screw them, let them starve. Get a job and a tithe envelope, ya filthy bums. Preacher needs a new watch.
If y'all are planning a visit, definitely bring fans. It gets real hot in here.
Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate.
I've got bad news. Because of the big, beautiful bill, we have to cancel your cancer treatment. But billionaires do get tax cuts.
Well, thank God for that. Ain't that something, baby?
Ma'am, you just lost your home because of the new bill. Do you regret voting for it?
Oh, not at all. My family's homeless, but at least the libs are mad.
So I'll be losing my health insurance. Don't worry about your son's cancer. We've got thoughts and prayers. Billionaires needed another yacht.
Happy 4th of July! Happy 4th of July!
You know you're going to lose your health insurance, right?
As long as you lose yours, I'm happy. God bless America!
As long as you lose yours, I'm happy. God bless America.